back for another week, and I'm just trying to fix this up. But yeah, we're back, Donnie. How's it? How was the week going? How was the week for you?
Listen, the week's been good. Got the bike out.
Oh,
Took
I was
it.
gonna fix this chair, but I didn't.
Took it for its inaugural ride, right to the mechanic. Dropped it off because I need to do new tires and fluids and everything. So I dropped it off on Tuesday. Called me Friday afternoon to pick it up, and then guess what today was? A monsoon in New England.
Okay, I was gonna say you got delayed on picking it up.
No, I was completely available to pick it up today, but it was a monsoon the entire day. Hasn't stopped raining. So I will be trying to pick it up on Monday. So bike season has begun, Doug, but still don't have the sidecar.
A little bit, yeah. That will be fun. Because we actually got 2 people watching here so far on Saturday night. I even put the show up like an hour and a half ago.
Look at that. We got friends.
Yeah. Oh, we're down to 1. They
we lost 50% of our viewership.
Yep. But yeah. So I didn't cough at all while we were like pre-show.
No, pre-show we talked for 15 minutes. You didn't cough once.
Not
the
once.
Second you hit the 30-second countdown, you were like coughing up a storm.
Yeah, like yeah.
I think it's psychosomatic.
Could be.
And listen, that's why I can't read WebMD, because when I read it, I have every symptom.
Mm-hmm. It is. Well, it is Saturday night, right? I'm not mistaken.
It is Saturday night, my friend. It's Saturday night, 8:38.
And people know that we're here, and well, you know what? There's that blue and white team that's playing tonight.
Oh, they're horrible though. Well, the red, white, and blue team played last night, so half of Canada should be watching.
I think they are losing right now as well.
Well, listen, red, white, and blue, greatest flag in the whole wide world, is won last night. So we're coming back. We're taking the cup, Doug. 20.
Actually, yeah, you sent me that picture. Like you had like a toilet seat on your shirt, though. And hello to Candy Hawkins, because she's watching on the down and back side, not the other side.
Listen. She wants to make you feel good about yourself. We talked last night, so she's trying to make you feel better tonight.
Yeah,
I mean, come on, yada yada yada. No, but it's my favorite time of the year, Doug. It is playoff hockey.
Yeah, it's.
Listen. A lot of times, I don't even care who's in it. I just like to watch it because I think it really, cream rises to the top, and I love to see teams playing, especially when they get down like 2-0, because that's been a lot of the teams are down 2-0 last night or the night before, and a couple teams come back 2-1.
Yep.
I think it just makes it way more interesting for the game.
Kind of cornhole with round limited, but we know that's going away next year, so it's
listen, let's go to come on, round limited. Don't worry about it. But I mean, listen, MVP of every hockey game is the Zamboni driver.
Yeah,
and I know you're gonna say I don't drive a Zamboni.
I'm not one of those.
Come on, you totally have the license plate frame that says my other car is a Zamboni.
No, I do not. No, I do not. But 180 degrees, spin the camera around, which I won't. There is a Pittsburgh Penguins sign that says Towaway Zone Zamboni.
Wow, they should tow away the Pittsburgh Penguins. Horrible team. Candy Girl, what is happening, baby?
But we'll probably say it once later on, once we start getting more people watching here. We do have to say something to a friend of ours, we'll say. Can we say that?
We can say that.
Happy birthday to this friend of ours, Mr. Shamar Moore.
Shamar Moore, he's having a big party at his house as we speak.
Yep. That was me at Worlds a couple of years ago. I was trying to do a selfie. It worked for him, not for me, but yeah.
Listen, he gave me a phone number last year at Spencer's. I think it was fake because nobody answered. It went to voicemail.
I got an email.
Yeah. It's probably fake. But there's a couple of the pros at his house that I saw today.
Yep.
I saw Mr. Matt Guy, Mr. Jamie Graham. I saw a Hunter there, and I saw a Tony Smith.
Oh, yeah. Well, Tony Smith is there a lot.
I think Tony Smith like lives in the guest wing or something. I mean,
think so, yeah.
seriously, he's there like all the time. But yeah, so happy
Well, there's that
birthday
whole new Brat Pack because they got to be on one of the shows.
They
all kind of
did
hanging out at the mall.
They were in an episode.
Yes, hanging out at the mall.
I believe that was season 4 or 5, I believe.
Something like that, yeah.
But congratulations to all them. Congratulations, Shmar, to another big year. And I believe there's rumors out there that they might be getting renewed for a new season. So stay tuned.
That would be interesting. I was when I was looking through the pictures I have, another friend of yours. I got to talk to him a little bit because he is the one who give me these and these.
Yeah, I have none of those.
Mr. Odie Gallup, give me those.
Yeah, Odie's giving me none of that stuff. Listen, I had him on the show. I've talked to him a lot.
Yep.
You know, texted back and forth with him. But guess how much of that SWAT stuff I have?
Well, I saw, when I did see him, I was like, hey, I know that my good friend Donnie McPhee, and he was like, who? So yeah.
I see. We get to see Odie every year when we go out to Spencer McKenzie's. Him and David will usually show up. Last year was the first year that Shamar showed up with everybody because he was in the big celebrity showdown with everybody else. Oh, look at that. Spence just joined in.
Yeah, Spence did. Yes, he did.
What is going on, Mr. Spencer?
And I see that you're now watching as well over on my side as well.
Well, I have to watch because in StreamYard, it doesn't tell us who's kind of signed in. And it just shows us.
I just see it on my side.
Yeah, listen, well, I got to go to my side because there's 8 people watching and you only have like one person, so.
Yeah. Well, no, I got like 6. It says 6 on there on my side. But anyway, yeah. So you I did not get a chance to play any cornhole this week. I'm hoping next week's not looking good either. I'm thinking it's a full week of hockey.
So I have not played cornhole in almost 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, I'm almost 3.
Yeah.
4.
I'm trying to get out this week. I got to look at the schedule and kind of move some stuff around. But my schedule has been, I know you do kind of opens or closes, like you do early or late.
Yep.
This last week and a half for me has been kind of mids. So I've been doing a lot of like 9 to 6 or 10 to 7 or 11 to 8. So it's been a little tougher to get out and go play. Plus, if you see my cheek right there, had a little medical procedure done. I had a little biopsy done on a freckle.
Okay.
Just because
they don't really need to do one on the end of the top.
No, there'd be no scan up there because it's hollow.
Nothing.
Yeah. They put the flashlight on one side, it comes out the other side.
Yes.
But I had the little biopsy, so Wednesday I was kind of down for the day because you don't realize when they take a needle and jab it in your cheek and they like numb it up and then cut it. It's a good thing I don't watch or read WebMD because I would have like every illness under the sun because I think I like literally just freaked myself out based on like everything the doctor was saying. Because he's like, I don't think it's melanoma. I don't think it's precancerous. And I'm like, what? It's cancerous? What? Like you only hear like half the conversation. And I was like, all right, let's just stop talking about it. Send me the results when you get it. I was like, I can't deal with this right now. But my cheek is literally hurt. It almost felt like it had a pulse for like the last 2 or 3 days. And it felt like it closed my eye a little bit too. Like my eyes like And I'm like, I just need to stop. I just need to stop thinking about this because it's driving me absolutely
So
crazy.
what you're saying is that the any bags that are being made down at Titan need to have another little scar added in there.
Listen, it needs to be what was it, left eye from
Although it's your right eye.
Oh yeah, this is my right side. Oh, you know what? It's this stupid camera. I always want to. Why is it that I always want to invert everything? I keep forgetting. Stupid.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Oh.
Messed up again.
Yep. So, but
what is? Oh look, we got the big ass boys in here.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. But Donnie, we do have break.
This is Canada. Maple syrup in my cabin say.
Look at that. Because today here, for the first time, 4 years in the making, look at that. Team Canada 124, Team USA 104 over at the McGregor Columbian Club in Windsor, Essex. The annual Essex, and then the guys from Michigan, they come over to the Canadian side. They have a little back and forth, and for the first time in 4 years, Canada gets the win.
Well, you know why that is, right?
Well, I was told that Lee Sturzik wasn't there from Michigan side, so but
the greatest Michigan player in the entire world moved to the Carolinas.
Well,
he came back for a weekend and took down the world. They are from Michigan, though. That is a true statement right there. That is a true statement.
But no, they've been doing that. This is the fourth year that they've been doing that. Started just post COVID. Hello, Mr. Taft over on the YouTube side there. They started just after COVID there, but I still remember from the first year they did it, talking with Derek Freeman, who plays in Essex with Evan there, and he said his first game, he went up to the boards and he had to play Maya Cup, and he knew as soon as she spun the bag on her finger, let it sit there, and then let it hit the board. He's like, I didn't even need to play. I knew I was done.
Yeah, but like I said earlier, the greatest player in Michigan history was not Tom Brady. It was Jordan Power.
Oh, I was kind of wondering where you're going there.
Jordan Power moved to the Carolinas. So that's why Canada is now winning. So you can say thank you.
No, well, we won. That's all that matters.
So some low numbers at the Ohio Interstate today. That is kind of sad. I mean, I've heard, Doug, down here, there's a lot of numbers dropping off and, kind of some interstate play and other stuff like that. Don't know really where that's coming from, but also for some areas around the country, we're kind of, for me right now, we're in between. Massachusetts had their vacation last week for school. This week is New Hampshire. So it depends on kind of where you live, depending on where people are. So this is kind of like spring break, kind of, school vacation time. So do you think that attributes to some of the lower numbers, or do you see anything else dropping off?
I don't know. So like I said, we haven't really seen a drop off in numbers up here. I think we're about to, though, because we usually get that in about, I guess we're a month away. Once June kind of hits, right after our May long weekend, right after May 2-4 long weekend. But yeah, that's when our numbers kind of start to drop off.
Well, but that's when the rest of the snow melts in Canada and your phone lines free up, right?
Kind of, yeah. Yeah, about that. And then looks like Sean's saying that Michigan, PA, and Indiana all had big events.
PA had a big event. I know NEPA, Cornhole, Joe Harsh had a big event today, so that kind of may be pulling a few people away. And I know I
He also
saw.
said, poor planning communication, and that was that was the one thing we had kind of run into a bit up here. People were when we still had all of our when we had all low numbers up here, and there was more clubs starting to kind of form up. They were more worried about multiple tournaments on multiple days. I'm like, you know what? Once we get big enough, we'll be able to do that without any kind of worry.
Well, I think
And we're kind
the
of now
big,
into that spot now where we can have multiple events
yeah.
on same weekend in
Well,
different spots.
I think the hard part here too is you get an oversaturation of events, right?
Yep.
Whether it be ACL or Scoreholio or other private stuff that's going on, it's everybody's fighting for space now. Like when I look at my area right now, on a Monday night, I could play at like 5 or 6 places. On a Tuesday night, I could play at like 8 places. On a Wednesday night, I could play at like 4. I mean, everybody has a club now, right? And you look on Scoreholio and, registration's like 15, 20 people, right? And you also get the people that change or sign up for 2 or 3 different places based on who's going to be playing there, right? Oh, I don't want to play that person. They're really good. I might not make the podium, so I don't want to play there. Or Airmail Pod here is a little higher because they advertised it, so I'm going to go there and take the chance at throwing a couple bucks at it. So, I mean, between the interstates and all the other stuff that's happening with charities and GoFundMe's and everything else, it's there's a lot of compression out there in the game right now.
Yeah, we don't have the interprovincial stuff yet. Kind of going like we had that with Quebec last year before last. We had that.
Yeah, but if you look at where Sean and Dane are, Michigan, PA, Indiana, that's all kind of drivable, right?
Yep.
It's all kind of congested right there. So that is going to take away from some of the big name players. I know I was watching some of the Keystone stuff with Joe Harsh today, and I saw like a Logan Dupler, a Storm Hogue, a Gage Landis were all there playing today. So, I mean, that's going to take away from some other places. And, they have to play in Pennsylvania because they can't, play in another state to get those whatever fictitious points, and they really don't need them anyways. But, I mean, that's going to take away from all the other stuff that's happening.
Yeah. And it's like Candy said there, it's hard to run a big league when there's like 3 within a 10-minute radius.
Well, and I think that's hard, where when you look at Titan, when you look at AAR, and you look at Crave, right? That's 3 pretty big organizations in that area, kind of right around that, kind of right outside of Rock Hill.
Yep.
Right? Couple hours outside of it, you're looking at, some of the biggest players there, and it makes it even harder. But then you like zoom in a little further, and you've got all these other leagues that play, a couple nights a week. It's going to take away from, playability or weekends, right? We're also about to head into graduation season.
Yep.
So that's going to take away. And for you and others, you got NASCAR and you got camping season, right? So what are those weekends you're going to give up camping with the family? Because we all only have so much limited time off from our real jobs.
Yep.
What are we get? Where are we going to spend our time? Is it going to be at a tournament, sitting behind a desk or throwing bags, or is it going to be with the family, kind of hanging out around a campfire?
Well, exactly. That's what we, like I said, we used to pull the trailer around, but this year, we're in the one same spot. So I think I have more freedom, I guess, to go to events. But I think I may just kind of stick around our campground because I've been told that now that myself and a couple of the other people that are going to be seasonals there that are bigger cornhole players, they might start doing like a weekend kind of league in there and
So-
do more kind of tournaments.
So I have 3 campgrounds above me. So New Hampshire is literally 9 miles right in front of this wall, right in front of me. And there's a couple campgrounds that are within like 20 minutes to 45 minutes. And on Saturdays and Sundays, they run leagues. And it's kind of a campground league, right? Where you play so many weeks out of the year. Whether you're a camper or not, you pay a guest fee or you're a camper fee. And a mile is way better than a kilometer, Andrew. But you go there, you play a couple weeks, you win so many points, you get into the championship, and then kind of last week is kind of a barbecue / big fun festival type thing. So and I love that because that really makes it a lot more fun for everybody. Like I have a buddy up here, Mike Curran, who runs Corn Stars, and they run it. It used to be a big truck stop. Now it's a medium-sized truck stop because they've taken more and more space and they made a venue. They took part of the parking lot and now they can set up a bunch of different boards. I think he's got almost 30 boards now. I think he sets up on a Tuesday night. And he runs a social, intermediate, and competitive bracket on a Tuesday night. And, full bar, full food. And it just makes it so much fun for everybody to come and hang out.
Yep.
And it's accessible off of, 2 or 3 highways up here in New Hampshire. So, well, not up there in New Hampshire. But it's a great time. But that's tough. Where with Candy saying 3 minutes from us, there's an American Legion and some other stuff that plays right there. It's getting more and more competition when you look at days of the week.
And then you also have to look at people looking to go and just kind of play for fun as well, instead of just chase those points. Because I know like that, like guys I camp with, they're wanting they're just wanting to do it for fun. They don't want to do the I don't want to say the slag, but just the constant going, chasing all these your points or whatever, and
but
they just want to go and just kind of have fun.
Well, but some of these campground leagues around us, it is really more fun, right? It's more of a beer league than it is a points league, right?
Well, yes, and I've been told I have to. I haven't played in any of the stuff at this campground that we're going to be at now. I've been told to be ready because they play. Bring your own bags, but you have to drop your bags at one of the boards, and then those bags do not leave the boards.
Okay.
Right. So,
all right. That brings me to my next question.
Mhm.
Do you bring bags that you love, or do you bring some of the most messed up bags that you have?
Well, I have been told that there is some of the bags, not all, some of the bags that do go to some of these boards are filled with 3/4 corn, 1/4 weevil.
What's a weevil?
That's a little bug that eats corn.
Oh, because they broke into the bag and started eating it.
Yeah, because it happened to be in with the corn, right? Just in, because it's just a small little.
Can I just tell you, on my deck, which is right here behind me, I've got a bird feeder on one side, and I got one of those. I'm probably going to say the word wrong because I always do. A suet cake thing, like the little cakes that you get that are like the birds can like kind of peck at. It's like got all the different stuff in it.
Yep.
I came home. What's today? Today's Saturday. I came home Thursday night. The squirrels had got on my deck and literally ripped the thing open, dropped the cake on the ground, and dragged it into the woods and took it away. I am so pissed. I am like now trying to squirrel proof a stupid bird feeder. Like, is this what my life has come to?
Yep.
No, but like Doug, I think that's so much fun because I try to do two different things when it's bring your own bags.
Mhm.
I've done it a couple times. So Marky here at High Voltage has done it a couple times, and Michael at Cornstars has done it a couple times. So one time up in Cornstars, I brought 2 sets of Jekyll and slides and put them on the board. It was I think it was Jekyll and slide the 4s. I think it was the 4s I put on the boards. So everybody had to throw those on that set of boards. If you got to that board, you had to throw them.
Mhm.
But I also like to bring some bags that I've had friends make that are just like the most messed up stuff. I had one buddy that made me a set of bags. It's a bath towel.
Well, yeah, you've showed them a couple times.
Yeah.
The green.
Well, those are the fuzzy bags.
Yep.
But I had a bath towel and a bath mat, so it just makes it so much fun.
Yes, Al. He's there.
Al, they stole my I like to see the birdies. I'm sorry. Listen, I almost bought that stupid thing on Facebook. It's the bird cam where like it has like a doorbell camera inside the bird feeder, so you can see the birdies eating your bird feed. I'm like, yes, I am getting old.
Yes, but like Candy said, like those weevils are nasty. I remember Jamie Cowan, we're talking one time, and he said that he had some bags that he had stored, and when he went back to get them, they were like light as anything because they were just the weevils had eat all the corn out of the bags.
Listen,
and it was just dust inside.
I think Candy can correct me here. I think it was like I want to say it was like Bag and Bash 1. No, I don't want the device to continue. Who's talking to me? Shut up. Bag and Bash 1. I think we played like a corn bag. We 1 or 2, we played a corn bag tournament. And every time you threw the bag, you just saw a cloud of smoke every time it hit the board. And when the way the light was hitting the board, you could just see where the last bag dragged through it.
Yep.
It was like, seriously? That bag hit the board, hit the dead spot, but still picked up speed.
Well, yeah, because then that corn dust will then make it bag the boards quicker, and well, I think you're able to have house bags, Candy. I think you're probably the best place to have house bags.
Do you guys even make bags?
I don't think so.
Never heard of it. I did watch a tournament last night where the man, the myth, the legend was not even throwing the tea bags, like throwing a different bag. He's going to tell you it was something he went blah, 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 blah. But I'm just going to say, wasn't that bag. That bag. Wasn't
Remember, you got to flip it around.
Damn it! I freaking hate this thing.
When you want to point that way, you got to point that way.
You got to point that way. But the corn bag tournament was fun because it honestly, those bags are like the most horrible thing in the whole wide world.
And when they do break down and they're like, because like one of the tournaments I played down in Charlotte at the race they had like some of the bags were only half full. Something we were throwing, it was one of those things that I was throwing uphill into the wind with like a half full bag.
So one of the first tournaments I ever played in, me and one of the guys who was a pro at the time, we played in a tournament for my niece's hockey team. And it was a corn bag tournament. It was the American flag ones that you get off of Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, excuse me.
So
you only got to throw 3 bags, Doug. 3 bags.
Okay.
4th bag, they didn't even put on the board. And it was game to 21, but it was point accumulation at the same time. There was no subtraction.
Yeah.
So whatever points you scored during that round, each team scored their points. So it was like the strangest damn thing I ever heard. But then you get to, and the boards were only at like 25 feet.
Mm-hmm.
But then you get to the finals, and now you have to play real cornhole. and they were 2x4 boards that were built at the trade school with no overhang. I still have the set in my shed. I will have to break them out because literally 2x4 boards, hand painted.
Okay. Yeah.
So you could see the brush strokes and everything on the board. So you're trying to like miss the high spot to get the bag to slide. I was like, oh my goodness. I think it's the last tournament I won.
I think the Charlotte one was the last one I won too.
Look at that. Well, wait a minute. Ben took the unicorn bags? I'm gonna have a problem with that. I love those bags. That is, as that one kid, what was that one kid on Facebook? What he used to say? Bullshit.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to think of what. But yeah, it's been a slow week or day though, because there's nothing coming up. There's nothing this weekend. No big events this weekend.
No, there's really not a lot coming up. There's a lot of regional stuff and other things that is kind of happening in between, which is kind of crazy because usually once the signature event stuff starts,
Yeah, it starts to kind of go.
it usually starts to go, but there was a month between Sig 1 and Sig 2. Right? Because Signature 2 starts on May.
The ball sack ones.
What's that? Yeah, the ball sack. But Signature 2 is May 2nd through the 4th. So that's, the other one ended on the 6th, right? Well, no, but it's April 4th through 6th was the first one.
Yeah, true, yeah.
And then you go from Mesa, Arizona out to Windsor, Colorado on the 16th. So that's only like 12 days after that, right?
Yep. Then there's one, same time as St. John's. Is there not another?
Signature 4 is May 30th through June 1st. So you're literally less than 12 days, 2 weeks away.
Yep.
And then you take like 19 days off, Signature 5 in Utica, New York, right in between us, Doug.
It is.
It is in between us. And then you skip another 2 weeks, July 4th through 6th. You go to the capital of the Confederacy, Richmond, Virginia. Like, why would you go there? Like, the country won its freedom that day. Why would you go to the Confederacy? But no big deal. I'm going to move on. And then you go to the end of July, the 28th through August 3rd is the World Championships.
Okay, so it's early this year.
It is early this year. Well, because I think when you really look at it, you drop in, a couple of things in between that from some smaller stuff. Like we just passed, so you get the Germany Open May 1st through the 4th.
Yep.
You get the Dutch Open May 9th through 11th. Also, the Australia Open is at the same time.
Yep.
But got ACL Canada Open number 4, 30th through the 1st in St. John's, Newfoundland.
Yeah, and then we've got our national in July, just before the Worlds, I believe.
So let me scroll. Yes, so July 17th through 20th.
Yep.
Thursday through Sunday. But the same weekend we are in St. John's, Doug.
Yes.
Is the Norway Open.
Okay, yep.
So, there's a lot of stuff going on in between what everything else is happening. But
I know in the past, I was kind of in on some talks that they are wanting to have kind of like the rest of the world, Europe and that there, have those seasons kind of everyone at the same time. So that when you go to Worlds, we're an actual Worlds because...
Can you really call it the World Championship if it's only the U.S. and Canada?
Well, I think there's starting to be more players come over.
Well, you had what was his name? Keegan B.
Yep.
He came up from Australia last year.
Matthew Rivaux come over from France last
Okay,
year.
yeah. So you had a handful of people,
Yep.
or less, that came through. But when you really look at it, and you're really talking about world championships, I think it kind of has to be more than 3 countries.
Well,
This is Canada. Maple syrup in my cabin say.
so it's we had that.
Well, nobody from Canada has ever finished above 356.
Today we did 124, 104.
No, but like I would love to see, if you're really talking about the Olympics, right?
Mm.
You need to have a lot more participation in more of a world stage, right? There's a lot of stuff that happens. Like last year, I know we had the big thing with where was it last year that Canada went and played and came in second? Where was that in?
Wasn't Paris?
Was it Paris?
No, Trier, Germany.
Okay, so it was Germany. And I know like Team Croatia is really coming up. I know Team France has really been doing a great job.
Yep.
The
Germans have been great as well.
Yep.
Sweden came on. They were right there as well. So there's a lot of countries that are really coming that are, I don't want to say sneaky good because they've always been good. But
they're up and coming.
Yep.
Right? I mean, because listen, let's be honest. Really has been more of a US sport or a North America sport, right?
Mm.
Where, it's been kind of US, Canada, kind of tailgating type thing. And, I know it's catching on in different parts of the world. And if you really look at us versus the world, like I saw a lot of the guys during COVID in France, in Europe, they were kind of throwing at one board and kind of picking the bags up and walking back and throwing again, because when you really look at some of the places that they're in, there's not a lot of space, like open space that we have in these areas, right?
And they were also throwing on the old tailgate size boards.
Yeah, tailgate style, you're right. Yep. Yeah, so I mean, they were getting a lot of pop and bounce off of it too, right?
Well, yeah, but they were also smaller boards.
Yeah, so they're playing what? Was that the 2x3 or no, that was more of the shorter, right? So they didn't have a bigger landing space, right?
Yep.
That was more of what we would refer to as like a beach board?
Kind of
thing? Yeah, kind like a tailgate beach board, right?
Good day, Mr. Hammett. So
yeah, so I mean, listen, when we to really make it a world championship, I think it has to be standardized around the world. Because even
I'm wondering now if that WCO event that's now happening in Croatia this year will become the world championship.
I want to see it. I want to see it get bigger. I want to see it blow up.
Yeah.
But at the same time, does there need to be a cornhole committee to help people get there, right? Because if you're going to represent your country, there's a lot bigger sponsors that help you get there.
Yeah.
So
I think that's where the WCO is going to come in, but it's just getting everyone that's in control of their countries on the WCO just to get them fully committed to getting those big sponsors.
Well, it's not even big sponsors. I mean,
but just
a bunch of sponsors, right?
Yep.
Because I mean, I can tell you, for me to fly to Europe is probably going to be, in today's market, between probably $800-900 to like $1,500, right?
Mm.
And that's really just economy, round trip, right? Depending on how many days I have to be there. And then you get hotel stays and everything else. So you're looking at probably between $4,000 and $7,000 per player.
Probably, yeah.
Right, just to get them there to play. And I'm not even talking about food, beverage, anything else. I'm just talking flight, accommodation, entry fee, kind of, ticket of admission, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do we start to pay for that as a collective, right? Because when you start to look at it, does and I'm going to use the ACL as an example, okay? But does ACL Canada maybe do a little rake, right? A 10% pullback out of pots that goes into a pool to pay for people as a little bit, right? Because maybe ACL Canada kicks in a little bit, ACL US kicks in a little bit, right, for their players. And then they have to find a couple sponsors, right?
I got a live audience in front of me here.
You do? Who do we got?
I do. Yeah. He's gone.
Here you go.
He's gone.
Was it the boy?
Yep.
All right. He just came down to check it out. He's like, "What's that doing?"
I don't think he knew that we were live. He kind of just deer in the headlights as he got to the bottom of the stairs because he's got his, I don't know if it's music going or his friends that are on Snapchat or whatever. But
The snaps and chats, the ticks and talks.
Yep.
No, but I think we got to get a little more creative how to help some of our people get to where we want them to be, right?
Is it time for Mark? I still see you here on the YouTube side. Is it time for maybe getting like airlines or anyone else to come in for a sponsorship?
Who knows, right? When you look at soccer, right?
Our resident frisbee golf player.
That's right. Well, and that's the thing, Chris. I'm just going to keep throwing stuff out there because I don't know what it needs to look like, and it can look different across different sports. But when you're talking about individual sponsorship versus team or national sponsorship, is that different, right? Like, I know I'm going to go back to Team USA basketball.
Well,
right?
I'm just kind of thinking that there because like Team Canada Hockey has a bunch of national sponsors.
But Team USA basketball, when you think of the Dream Team, right?
Mhm.
They were sponsored by Reebok.
Yep.
And some of the players that were on the team were sponsored by a little swooshy company
Mm-hmm.
and didn't want to wear the gear. So they covered it up during some of the ceremonies.
Yeah.
So, it gets tricky when you're really looking at me going there and playing as me and you as a team, right, Doug? Or playing as a nation. Is it different?
I would think so.
I think so too. If you really want to look at the Olympic way, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you really start to look at international competition, it really comes down to kind of the IOC, right?
Yes.
And, I know what Chris is saying where the players have to find their sponsors, but to me, that's a little more for playing here in the US or Canada, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they're going to pay my way. I'm going to play so many opens here in the US. I'm going to play a couple in Canada. I'm going to travel. I'm going to be an ambassador for the brand, yada, yada, yada. But if I'm playing for the country, does that drop my sponsorship stuff?
I think that should probably supersede your sponsorships. If you want to, if you're going to play for your country like that, that their sponsors should supersede yours.
And we're a little different. I think you can still keep your sponsors a tiny bit and highlight them, right? Mm-hmm. But you still have to wear the gear of the country, or do we break that mold in cornhole and maybe...
I don't think we need to. No, I don't. I think look kind of thing here. If you've said basketball, I'm gonna go change up. Let's compare it then to hockey, because in hockey you got your jersey sponsor, your person who makes the jerseys, right? I'm gonna equate the cornhole bag with the hockey stick. You got the different brands or whatever, the people, they're still using them, right? So I don't think it is a real. I think that would kind of fall under that.
Okay. But and the thing with it is, we don't have the answers, folks. We're just talking it out, right? It could
Right.
be completely different.
And Chris, here for people on the YouTube side, if you're playing for your country, your sponsor should be proud to help push the sport forward.
And I think they all would too. You know, we're just kind of pontificating a little bit on,
Because they can still put stuff out saying, you know, like our player is here, like it's in the national jersey, whatever, right?
you look at the Nike store, right? Even though Nike did not sponsor the Olympics, it was a Reebok contract. If
Mhm.
you went in the Nike store, you still saw Michael Jordan.
Yep.
And some of the other players that were under contract, you know, Charles Barkley, in the Nike store with the banners that were hanging on the wall.
Yep.
You know, they're still promoting those people. But you know what? We can also break the mold as a sport and maybe bring it to a completely different level. You know, I know you're still tied to some, you know, Olympic Committee rules, but how can you bend those rules a little bit to help the players out a little bit? Because this is a sport that's not going to get big funding, right? Like NBA kicks in a little for Team USA basketball, right? MLB kicks in a little for Canada and US baseball,
Yeah.
right? Even a little more Cuba and, you know, Dominican and everything else. So this sport's not making the dollars those sports are making, but how can we try to influence to drive some dollars into that?
Yes. Yeah. I think the need for national sponsors is there. I think we can't expect our players to try and help get there by going to get Larry's Garage over on you know, Ford Street to sponsor me going to Croatia. Where what are they going to get out of a tournament in Croatia?
Listen, as a friend, they might help me out, but is it an actual return for them, right?
I think it's almost nil.
Listen, I will tell you, I will switch from Miller Lite to Molson if they send me a contract.
Yeah, I'm not sure I would do that.
Or even, what's the spirits company?
Harris Beach Spirits, right?
Listen, Harris Beach Spirits, you hit me up. Listen, I'll drink a drink anytime.
Well, I think we will. I'm going to try and have some of that for St. John's.
All right, love it. But no, I mean, I think if we really look at, you know, the game's evolving. It's getting tougher and tougher, right? When you really start to think of nights of the week, what's happening around the world, with just the game of cornhole. Not talking anything else, kids. Not talking anything else. But just looking at what's happening in this game around the world, I see a lot of people popping up in Asia and, you know, Australia, Europe, you know, US and Canada. Haven't seen a lot, Doug, in South America and Central America. You know, so I don't know where the sport's kind of going there. I know there's a bunch of people that play there.
I was gonna say there is some stuff in like Argentina and that.
There's a little bit there, but I just don't see those groups making a splash, though. You know what I mean?
No.
Like when you really look at some of the groups on the Book of Face and other stuff like that, I just don't really see them out in front, right?
No. Like I've seen a lot of stuff actually from India their national program that they've actually. I'm almost thinking that they've got it in the schools there, which almost maybe they're the ones that are going in the right direction, right? To be able to get those players in that they're kind of everything is any of their big tournaments are all like a big youth tournament.
Well, the thing there
That
too is that
where we should be going.
well, that's such a huge market too, right? When you look at the amount of people that are there and their love of sports.
I will go one further then, and just popping into my head now is the Olympics. Soccer, world sport in the Olympics is what? U21 in the Olympics. It's not the professionals, it's the U21.
But even if you look at, like, you're talking about India, what's the biggest sport in India right now?
Well, you got cricket.
Cricket, right? I mean, those fans are over the top fanatical, right, about the sport.
Mhm.
You really don't get another group that's that passionate about cricket until you get to kind of England, right? But
Yeah,
I mean,
and Australia, West Indies, kind of stuff. That, yeah.
yeah, but Australia down under, no big deal. But I mean, that's a huge sport in those areas, right? When you really look at it, to really make that transition into cornhole is going to be huge because, I mean, you have lifelong fans that literally, depending on the town you're in, there's a line through the middle, and it's not through middle class and upper class. It's literally which team you root for.
Yep.
Right? I mean, we were in Bermuda one time, and literally we were going to the south of Bermuda, and I was wearing, like, I think I was wearing orange, and they're like, that's the shirt color of the North, and I'm like, I'm just wearing an orange short because I love it. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not part of this. I'm just here. I'm just hanging out. But once again, hit a button right there. But no, but I think a lot of these emerging markets for cornhole are only going to help grow the game.
Oh, you said it. I knew you could get back onto it, but no, it's there's so many things that we've wanted the game of cornhole to go, like the direction we've wanted it to go. Right? Like we've at one time, with when I had Trey on, we were talking that for crowd wise, we'd love it to go in that route of darts, having like the way that crowd goes. Right? We would love that. But it's
Doug, we don't want dart fans because those, oh my God. Listen, the most fanatical fans in the world is soccer because the hooligans are all there.
Yeah.
Right behind it is darts.
I'm St. John's. You're going to have to show it now. You're going to get that in St. John's.
I want to see it because, I mean, honestly, just watching some of the big tournaments from Europe, it's crazy to watch some of those dart fans. I mean, people have walkout music.
Yep.
And they're like friggin' celebrities. Like, I understand, listen, they're professional athletes, and I'm not trying to take anything away from them. Don't get me wrong. Don't start sending me hate mail. They are professional athletes and they're doing an amazing job. But when you really think about it, like, the amount of people that show up to a dart tournament on New Year's Eve in England is just crazy.
Mm-hmm. Wayne's hoping we're talking lawn darts.
No, that's called jarts, right?
But no, I still think we could get there because some of our athletes are the same body type as the dart throwers. But it's still I think that's almost kind of what what I would love to strive to see us, just have that crowd to stick around till the end. We need the people to stick around to the end and just that enthusiastic for the game.
Listen, I will say, I'm going to go on record right now that I have seen way more of
Oh, Spencer, I do not want to see your banana suit.
banana hammock. What? Yeah, what?
Wayne's there. Wayne.
Yeah. But I've seen way more Canadian fans stay till the end
Yep.
of a tournament than I have seen in the US. The only time I really see a lot of the US fans hanging around is the bigger tournaments
Is that
that
World?
are, well, it's, I'm going to go past Worlds. I'm going to say ESPN. Anything that's being broadcast, because they all kind of crowd the stands and they've got all the stuff, right?
But do you know what though? Thinking back, like the TV broadcast or whatever, go back and look at some of the older videos, like like the shot that Brett Guy hit against Graham and Brooks, right? Like just the way the crowd went there. I'm thinking the crowd was a little. Maybe it's because it was a little smaller crowd. Maybe I'm not sure, but just the way that the crowd went there, more kind of crazy, and kind of got more into it.
Well, but I think it's also like when you to your point, I think it's really sometimes about who the people that are playing, right? Because
Possibly.
when I see Jamie Graham and Trevor Brooks
Yep.
playing against Matt Guy and Brett Guy, guess what? I'm grabbing a big bag of popcorn and I'm sitting right beside there because I know some amazing shots are going to be hit.
Yeah.
But I also know there may be a little bit of controversy and drama.
Okay, so I don't want to be this guy, but yes, we have the personalities now, right? But were the personalities a little bigger back in the day?
I think we had a little more personality back in the day because we had the Phil Haydens, the Damon Dennis, the Jay Dotson, the Cody
and Adam.
Cody and Adam. There was a lot more, for lack of a better term, jibber jabber on the boards, right?
Yep.
Where the one thing I loved about Cody is he never really talked shit to anybody. He was just talking to himself half the time.
He was talking shit to himself most of the time.
He was just talking to himself. Which, if I'm standing beside somebody throwing like a pound and a half beanbag, and I'm like, this guy's talking to himself. Like, it literally is a little unnerving, right?
Yep.
But I think
sometimes, Wayne,
the game has gotten a little quieter.
Crossed my mind.
The game, Doug, to your point, the game's gotten quieter because the demographic of the game has changed.
Yes.
We probably went, when we first started the game, the average age was probably high 20s, early 30s.
Yes.
Now we're down probably 19, 20. Right? So it's a little...
Or younger.
No, but I'm just saying, like, when you look at the finals, the average age comes out to like 19 or 20, right? Where some of these kids are coming out with some of these crazy shots, the roll cut, the roll push, like airmail drag or whatever, you know what I mean? It's not the same game. The game is evolving.
Yeah.
So it makes it a little bit different.
Mm-hmm. I think that's almost a good topic for the show to go talking about back in the day. I think there's I've had a couple of people in my mind just kind of come up right now, which I would love for us to have on to be able to talk about that.
Listen, I listen. The second you said that, 5 people popped into my head.
Oh yeah,
an old ESPN broadcaster.
Yeah.
A gentleman that used to run tournaments at a racetrack.
Okay.
The man that is still killing the senior circuit.
Yes.
Some people that were in the middle with gentleman that moved from Michigan down to the Carolinas because he was kind of in between there, in a little bit of a transition.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then maybe the guy that has probably won the most cornhole tournaments in the entire world. But it doesn't count because it was between.
Well, I'm still thinking of some other people that may have been in the stands. That was on every broadcast. Not playing, but he was at every broadcast.
Would he be at a retreat this weekend?
Well, there could be two people that are like that. But no, but there's a lot of people that could talk about that. Just the
Well, listen, if we want to really dig deep, we've got, Cito Soto, one of the first original pros, right? Who can talk a lot about the history of the game. We got Jay Dotson that can talk a lot about the history of the game. We've got Adam and Cody that can talk a lot about the history of the game. We've got Matt Guy, Brett Guy, who, came from backyard to ACO to ACL, kind of switched and have reinvented themselves a million times. Mm-hmm. You got, Jamie Graham, you got Jordan Kamba, you've got Tanner Halbert, you've got, Trey Birchfield. You've got all these different players that have come between different Ryan Windsor, who was ACO now to ACL, right? Yep. You've got so many people that can talk about where this game was to where it is today. But we also have some people that have left the game too, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've got, you've got so many people that we could pull from the backlog of the game from the last, 5-10 years.
Yeah.
They can actually talk about where the game was to where it is today to really shed a light. Like we could film a documentary, Doug.
Oh, I think we could. I mean,
just in the last,
because really the name that came to my head, the guy that I've had on the show before, would be Big Burt Blackwell.
Dude,
because there was a time where if you want to know somebody in cornhole, or know how to get become friends with them on Facebook, you friended Big Burt Blackwell because you were going to get everybody sending you, because if you were friends with him, then you were in the know.
All right, so I'm going to give you my 6 degrees of Big Burt Blackwell. Ready? So from Big Burt was to the Gore Boys.
Yep.
And then there was Christy Leonard from Cornhole and Your Sandbox.
I talk with her as well. Yep.
Right. Into Meacham.
Yep.
It's literally, if you play that Kevin Bacon game, the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, you could play the 6 degrees of Big Burt Blackwell.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, let's just be honest. He is such a staple of the game.
Well, I just happened to go to, during Worlds, go to Small Bar over in Fort Mill. Big Burt Blackwell's playing there, and Christy Leonard's playing there. And it's just,
And shout out to...
It's just some people that were front and center in the game who are no longer there just because circumstance or whatever, but...
Well, but speaking of Christy, there is... we need some prayers for Gage. So Gage is someone that was down there. He was in a pretty terrible motorcycle accident and has been kind of fighting a little bit for his life. I know they've been doing a lot of stuff for him. So if all the prayer warriors out there could take a couple minutes and take a moment for him, near and dear to my heart, because I ride my motorcycle all the time when it's not in the shop. But, it is a real fear for everybody that rides of kind of what happened to him just a short time ago. So, if you can, keep him in your prayers and hope he makes a strong recovery.
So we've gone over an hour again. I'm just noticing that there.
Doug, that's what we do. We go in with nothing and we come up with
Absolutely
everything.
nothing.
We've talked about 7 topics that we've never talked to each other about ever.
No, because it just came up. But it's that because that's the way cornhole is.
Well, because Doug, what are we doing?
You got me doing it. I went the wrong way. We are just winging it, which I think I'm going to be going for some winging it this week.
I wish I had one close to me.
I'm winging it this week.
The closest, I think we figured out. What did we figure out? The closest one to me is in what? Like, I think it's like Nova Scotia or like somewhere around there, right?
Is there one in Quebec?
Is there? I don't know. Oh, I got my first question about an after party.
I haven't got one yet.
Well, you know who sent it to me?
Yeah, I know.
Who did?
DB guy. Oh. Or this guy.
So, Al, mine is out of the shed. It's at the shop right now. I was supposed to pick it up today, but because of all the rain, I couldn't get it. So I have to wait till Monday when the shop opens back up again. But it'll be ready, my friend. Ooh, what is an Amelia Earhart?
That's a flavor.
But what is the flavor, though? What's in the flavor?
I'm not sure.
Is it taste like sea salt or? Oh, wait, too soon. I say that because nobody knows where she is.
I could, you know what? I could even take you. There's an Amelia Earhart thing. It's honey, garlic, and roasted red pepper.
Ooh, that sounds nice. That sounds tasty. I can't wait. I can't wait to get to winging it.
We are almost.
But do I get to go to the OG one, right?
Yeah, there's a couple around there. Yeah. Which reminds me, we should kind of start talking more about that thing. But we'll talk about that more about that thing.
Yeah, we'll talk about some stuff, some things, some whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Doug. Take us out.
Now we've been talking about food. I haven't eaten it all yet today.
Yeah, take us out. Come on.
And this guy pre-show was like, "Well, yeah, I've had like a couple steaks, a couple of everything," and I'm like,
"Well, no. Here's the thing. So, our old freezer broke. We got a new freezer. So my wife had all this food that she was looking at, and she's like, I got to cook all this stuff up. And she's really big into meal prepping now, right?
Well,
so,
okay, Spencer, I was going to take you to that. Someone stole it.
They stole the statue? Seriously? Maybe nobody stole it. It just disappeared. But my wife cleaned out the freezer and she made a bunch of stuff for this week for meal prepping and everything. And so my wife made this big casserole dish of like this keto meal, which was like eggs and sausage and bacon.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what happened? My 18-year-old carnivore that lives upstairs and doesn't have a job came down and ate almost the entire tray. Like, yeah, literally housed the entire thing.
Similar situation for me. I Thursday I worked. Our girls hockey team, our organization had their year-end party. I brought home like 4 containers of like 40 chicken tenders each because they had a bunch left over. A big tray of lasagna. Chicken tenders are gone, and the lasagna, vegetarian. So I was like, yeah, that would do.
Yeah, listen, my son comes down out of his room and just takes like the tray and just brings it upstairs.
Yep.
And the next time I see it, it's in the recycling bin. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? What's going on? So
with that over down, see, I know how to do it. I gotta go this side to go that side.
Look see, you fixed it. I did not mess you up this time.
Yep. East Coast Cornhole. Speaking of East Coast Cornhole, congratulations, Matthew Arns gets the winner of the free jersey the other day. Jamie Cowan right down below me. JC Cornhole, the OG board maker in Ontario, best boards around. There's also some people in the east and in the west of the province. We're going to be talking with them as well at some point. Over down below Donnie, if you're in Wayne Hammett's neck of the woods, check out Darren over at Sierra Property Inspections. And remember, a portion of the money that you spend to get your house inspected will go to help a children's cancer hospice in the Edmonton, Alberta area.
Listen, don't buy a house without a house inspection.
No. And Darren is even if you just go over to Sierra Property Inspections on Facebook, give it a like, let them know that you were sent from here. Check out some of the photos. There's some people that do some pretty interesting plumbing stuff.
Oh, wait a minute. Contractors be contracting.
I'm not sure if these are contractors doing that.
Yeah.
But anyway, then up above Donnie to his you're right. But yeah, but there we go. Right there. We got corn dudes, because remember, hay is for horses. Corn is for cornhole players. And make sure you're checking out Lance and all the guys over at 24/7 Cornhole. They will show you all the live feeds you need to see.
Am I driving by those guys when I go down south?
I think so. Probably, yeah. Good chance. I think they're up in the Raleigh area, if I'm not mistaken.
The area I want to move to.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the Raleigh area, if you're in the Raleigh area, check out Mark Adams, one of the top local directors there, runs some great events. One of my only, I played at one of his events, got to play against Colby Shearer at that event. Some fun there.
Wait a minute, Wayne Hammond, what did you do me a favor? What?
I don't know.
What is that? Oh my goodness, I'm intrigued.
Probably showing you that which direction to point. I don't know. And then, of course, down to Donnie's left, point to your right.
My right's this way. Nope, my right's this way. Nope, this way. Over here. Oh, wait, nope. Oh, no. Wait. Over there.
Point to your left. There you go. Yeah, down there. Yeah, right there. Make sure you're hitting up Titan. Oh, actually, why don't you say it?
Listen, everybody, the greatest bags and boards in the entire world, www.titancornholebags.com. For the greatest bags and boards in the whole wide world, ACL approved, ACL stamped, you can get the bags I throw, which are the Sonars. You can also get the bags that some other guy named Derek throws, which are sometimes darts. And you can get the greatest gear in the whole wide world at TitanCornholeBags.com or WestGeorgiaCornhole.com. Let's go, people. Pony up.
So until next week, make sure, be nice to each other. Have fun out there just throwing bags. Don't worry about payouts, because we're all just having fun.
Don't worry about your SPR.
Nope. But the one thing you got to worry about, Donnie, we're number one.
This is Canada. Maple syrup in my cabin say
51?
No, we're not.